Well, guys, we're 2 days away exactly from the Los Angeles Chargers heading to Houston and taking on the Texans to begin wildcard weekend. I am so excited for this game, and in this video, I want to break down the keys to stopping the Texans and walking out of here with a win. Now, of course, the Texans, they do have a lot of issues right now with their offensive line. They've got issues with their lack of receivers because their second and third best receivers are out for the season. CJ Stroud's accuracy on tape has been a disaster. But you look at the Chargers, they're playing their best football of the season. The defense gave up the fewest amount of points in all of football. Justin Herbert, to me, is playing the best ball of his career. You've got Lad McConkey. You've got J.K. Dobbins, Will Disley. You've got, of course, QJ. I mean, this team is going into the playoffs feeling like it can beat anyone. And if I'm being honest, I think they can. I think the Chargers legitimately have a chance to win the Super Bowl. If they lose, it's going to be by one score. If they lose next week to the Chiefs, it's going to be by one score. But why not just win, right? We've seen the Chargers sort of shoot themselves in the foot this season, and they've dealt with injuries. But if they can continue to just play like they have the past 3 games, this team is going to be extremely dangerous, and I want to talk about it. And it's crazy to think that Jim Harbaugh has been to as many Super Bowls as the entire Chargers organization. So clearly, they've got the right guy, and he's been great in the playoffs too. The Chargers, they've been excellent in the wild card. I believe they're 6-3 ever in the wild card, but it's been the second and the third rounds that have truly haunted them. So let's get into it, guys. So yeah, the Chargers, they've allowed an NFL low 301 points this season. Chargers have an elite front. They've got guys that can get after the quarterback, and then they've also got a secondary that has just been very, very sticky in coverage. The linebackers, Deion Henley, have been fantastic. Jesse Minter deserves a lot of credit. He might end up being a head coach within the next 2 years. I don't think he quite gets it this time, but I think the next season when head coaching vacancies open up, Minter's going to get a lot of recognition. He's been that good. Greg Roman's been phenomenal as well, but this defense is just playing at a different level right now. And Houston, to me, is the best possible matchup for the Chargers because they're playing their worst football of the season. Their quarterback is struggling. The defense for the Texans, to me, is very, very good. I might even call it elite. I don't like the Texans at all, so it's hard for me to even say anything good about them. But their secondary, without question, is elite. They've got Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson Jr., Danico Autry. Defensively, I don't expect the Chargers to put up 30 in this game. I think Los Angeles, that sweet spot's going to be around 21 to 24. I think if they can do that, they're going to have a great chance with how well their defense is playing. But that's the thing, is I'd rather be going up against an elite defense versus an elite offense because I don't want the Chargers getting into a shootout. I'd rather it be a low-scoring game. And the reason for that is because who do I trust more, Justin Herbert or CJ Stroud? Without question, I trust Justin Herbert more. You got a guy that's crushing it right now, played at an MVP level. I mean, how many footballs did Herbert throw this season? I don't know if I can find that, but I mean, I think it was like 500. It was over 500. It might have been 504. It might have been more than that. I don't really recall. But 3 picks. 500 plus passes and just 3 picks. CJ Stroud, on the other hand, has 12 interceptions and he's thrown about the same amount of passes. So it goes to show Herbert is different. He's that guy. 23 to 3 ratio, QBR, which is 11th. Remember, of course, Herbert did miss some time, and even when he didn't necessarily miss time, I guess, but it was more so he had to leave a game early and then he had that high ankle sprain. But what has Herbert done since, of course, that injury? He's played some of the best quarterback play in all of football, so I'm very thrilled about that. In Stroud, he was sacked the second most in the league this year, so you have an inaccurate quarterback. You've got a guy without 2 of his top 3 weapons, and then also he's taking sacks. He's not accurate with the football. 12 interceptions, was tied for the 4th most in the NFL. The Chargers secondary, at the very least, will have an opportunity to capitalize on some of Stroud's mistakes in this one. He just hasn't been the same quarterback in his second NFL season. After one of the most impressive rookie campaigns in NFL history, many expected him to take that leap. It just hasn't happened. No Tank Dell, no Stephon Diggs. I mean, the Texans had arguably the best receiver core in football coming into the season. Then Diggs in Week 8 towards ACL, and then Week 16, Tank Dell suffered a serious season-ending knee injury. And now for the Chargers, they're going to have to focus on Nico Collins, who missed a good amount of games and still went over 1,000 yards. But to me, as someone who knows the Texans very, very well, because they're, of course, in the Colts division, they're gonna play through Joe Mixon. The Chargers, they've got to stop Joe Mixon, and the Bolts defense, it's been elite at stopping the run the past several games. On the season, they're 14th in total, so they're a little bit below, I guess, below average. So, which is good, I guess, but still, look at the Chargers. I mean, they've stopped the run well enough to be able to take care of Joe Mixon, who rushed for 1,016 yards, 11 touchdowns, which is good, but 4.1 yards per carry, right? This isn't Saquon Barkley averaging 7 yards per carry, anything crazy like that. They just got to keep Mixon in check. The key to beating the Texans is making sure you win first and second downs, early downs. You could say that's the key to beating any team, but especially the Texans. You want to put them into third and obvious passing situations because their offensive line is not going to be able to hold up against this elite and dangerous Chargers front. The Chargers can rush from the interior and they can rush from the edge. They've got, of course, Tuli Tuipulotu, Bud Dupree. They've got the stud and Joey Boza, and they have a couple of other guys like Apuna Ford who are going to be able to apply pressure and stop the run. So I'm excited about it. The key to me in this game, it's not going to be the Chargers defense against the Texans offense. I do think it's going to be fun, but I have a lot of faith in the Chargers defense going up against pretty much anyone in the AFC, even if it was Baltimore or Buffalo. Again, best football of the season, best stretch of football for the Chargers, especially defensively. But the Texans, I mean, man, this is just the best opportunity. The Chargers could hold them 10 points. I wouldn't be surprised. But it's going to be the Chargers offense against the Texans defense because Los Angeles offensively, they got J.K. Dobbins back, and he's been cooking. They've got McConkey. They've got QJ, of course, and Will Disley. They have a guy like a Josh Palmer, but Justin Herbert, just the way he's seeing the field right now, is going to be fun going up against this Texans secondary that has been phenomenal. I mean, they have the fifth most takeaways as a team. Derek Stingley Jr. and safety Kalen Bullock each have 5 interceptions. Houston has the sixth best passing defense, allowing 201 yards per game. So taking a look at Justin Herbert, he didn't play exactly well against the Jags in his first playoff matchup. Is he going to be able to turn that around against this Texans defense? And I actually am going to put a bet on the Chargers. I'm looking at the odds right now. And no, I don't condone sports gambling. Definitely, if you don't do it, don't do it. But if you do it, the line of Herbert is 231.5. I think he crushes that, being honest with you. I mean, you'd have to go back to the Tampa Bay game where Herbert didn't throw for over 231.5 yards. Of course, Kansas City on the road, he didn't as well. But this is a Texans defense that I think Herbert's going to look to attack through the air, get rid of it quickly into his playmakers' hands. Taking Herbert to 1.5 passing touchdowns, so he would need 2. That's honestly, I think Herbert's actually probably more than likely going to have 2 passing touchdowns, and he has 231.5 yards. I do think that the Chargers are going to run the ball a lot too. So Ladd McConkey, 73.5. I think it depends. I mean, the Texans have a great secondary, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep Ladd McConkey under 73 yards, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, McConkey, same thing, Tampa Bay game, but the Atlanta game before that, he hit 117. So 4 of his last 5, he's gone over that too.